That sort of leads to an interesting sort of question about risk, and how much do you think agencies and clients should take risks on considered risks, but do you think it should be?
We have a rough risk rule. I know it's a bit boring, but 70% of the stuff that we do and the money we spend, we try and have pretty risk-free, so it's proven stuff. 20%, it's got early signs that it's working and we're happy to back it, and 10% we're happy to do whatever with. And that's kind of our high risk, and it's not unlike how super funds might balance their investment portfolio. News Corp owns half of Foxtel. They have a wonderful risk culture. Nobody ever gets fired for stuffing up once, and Rupert Murdoch's mantra is fail fast, and we're really fine with failure, provided it's in that 10% and we fail fast, and that builds an innovation culture. And things like the alert shirt, we spend a lot of effort on it, we didn't spend a lot of money on it, and if it didn't achieve the sales objectives, it doesn't matter. It was an awesome idea, and by doing those things you find the next big thing that goes into the 20% that ends up in the 70%. And I think you've always got to be iterating and trying new things. In cultures where people are afraid to take risks because failing is looked down on or is difficult for them, you are going to get so left behind because there are so many innovative companies out there at the moment.
I think sometimes it's a little bit easier on the smaller parts of your business to be more risky, and I think as an organisation, I think even your senior management feels more comfortable to give people the ability to take more risks. Sometimes I think it's harder on the bigger businesses and the bigger brands when they're not willing to allow you to take those big risks. But I think on those smaller brands, we've done some fairly, I suppose I'd classify as fairly out there and polarising programs, which for a fairly, a company that's been around for over 140 years, you'd think it'd be quite conservative, but we've been allowed to do them and we've had great success with some of those programs. Yeah.
I'm going to see if I can get the Game of Thrones into my next social media program.
We're the licence holders, so I'm glad the lawyers had a chat to you.
We should be taking big risks on big brands, not on small brands, and we should be far more open. I think we should be experimenting a lot more. I think it's always easy to experiment a lot more when businesses are going well and when there's a lot of trust and people are feeling confident. And I think the biggest issue that the GFC left, I think, across a lot of industries is pressured organisations and organisations that were less able to take risks, and I think it's left the industry in a worse place. But you can do a Coke also do that 70-20-10, I think is who we heard it from, and you play in that 10% space, but it really feels like you should be playing in the 70. But the whole idea of failing fast.
We can innovate in the 70. I guess it depends on your appetite for what risk really means. And if you're running a major, in our case, a major acquisition campaign for 10, 12 weeks, it's too much to gamble.
But if you're failing fast enough, it'll flow through to the 70 quick enough. So I think that's the key, is how quickly you do it.
But consumers are hungry for innovation, and they notice innovation, and risk and innovation are linked. And if you're not being interesting and different and new, it's hard to get noticed.
Interesting is statistic you brought up there, 70%. I found something quite remarkable the other day, that actually 70% of partnerships fail because the partner doesn't listen or doesn't connect. Do you find that your partners at times find it very difficult to listen and connect?
Is this at home or at work?
Well, it can flow onto at home as well, Ed.
That's a good tip.
But it is, that's what I try and instill into my people, is that they need to listen to their clients, and not only listen but actually connect. It's one thing you can sit there and just listen and pretend.
I think the connection is the critical thing. I mean, it goes back to your point about personality, right? I mean, you work with agencies because you work with people, and the people are good at what they do, but you like them. I mean, so the connection is really important, and generally people who listen, people you do connect with and you like. So I think that they're all kind of interrelated.
We just had our monthly agency reviews, and it's where the agency team comes in, media and creative, and all the different parts of my business are in there, and we have a scorecard for each other, and we go through that and talk about what's going well, not well, needs improvement, etc. The last one I sat in, it was only last week, I had to pinch myself at how grown up the conversations were. There were a couple of really awkward, difficult things, and there was no tension in the room. There was no animosity in the room. They have got so good at doing this now. We've been doing this for a couple of years, that these conversations are so natural. It's a little bit like your tennis coach saying, throw the ball higher when you serve, or your gym instructor saying, don't bend your wrists when you're lifting. It was amazing, and I thought to myself, wow, this is a real observation of two high-performing teams, that they can have these honest chats about difficult things and it's not one bit awkward. I'm loving seeing that as a process.
Well, I think the honesty is such a
But you have to
There's one
train
thing that
coaching
and
conversations.
one of the things that we've done over the last couple of years is we actually get everyone in our key team with our partners to actually go out and talk to consumers and do interviews to try and understand the consumer before we actually start our process of developing new programs. Because we've found that by them sitting in front of a consumer, they can learn a lot more, and therefore they don't make preconceived views on what they're trying to achieve. And that process has been amazing in just really getting everyone on board to clearly understand what we're trying to work towards.
We do that with our top 100 leaders. We call it Exec Connect. They go out with installers, repair people, outbound sales calls, service calls, disconnection calls. It's really enlightening.